More than half of retirees in the United States have less than $25,000 in savings, excluding the value of their homes and pension plans. Most retirees find themselves stuck in the middle, unable to afford long-term care, but with too many assets to qualify for Medicaid. Studies have shown that nursing home care is not affordable for Americans who are middle class anywhere. MacGyvered solutions are not sufficient. Because there's a lack of public infrastructure, older adults and their younger caretakers, out of desperation, have started to MacGyver healthcare and housing solutions. Unrelated older adults have started to move in together in order to try to meet each other's financial and healthcare needs. Public shared centers are the sustainable option. The construction of a brand new senior home with single-family homes leaves behind a large carbon footprint. When older adults age in place in existing structures in their existing homes, the carbon footprint is much smaller. Yes, the construction of a shared public older adult center also leaves behind a carbon footprint. However, it's divided up and shared among more members of the community. A growing population of older adults. Did you guys know that 1 in 5 of American citizens is over the age of 64? For the first time in American history, there are just as many older adults as there are children who are ages 0 to 18. In every American town, especially at the SURC conference, we're all representing different towns, right? There are public structures dedicated to the education and care of children. Is there the same amount of attention put on the education and care of our elderly population? The original structure. So in Middletown, in the city of Middletown, Orange County, New York, my partners and I, after some speculation, decided on a real site in Middletown where we could build a hypothetical older adult center. This is the original structure, which was the Middletown State Homeopathic Hospital, which was constructed in 1874 at 1 Bowles Avenue in Middletown, New York. Now it's been razed to the ground. It's just a grassy field. Some of you from Middletown will recognize the gate. We selected this site for various reasons. First of all, as you guys can see from the map, the entrance to our site is the red waypoint. From the red waypoint, you're a couple blocks from downtown Middletown, so it's in a great central location in a rather large city of Orange County. Second of all, the Transit Orange public bus system has a line that passes through and around our site and takes you to downtown Middletown, where you can make transfers farther across the region of Orange County. So really, this site is in a central location. Neighboring organizations. When you look at the site, we selected this site for an older adult center. This would be where the older adult center would be, because it's actually surrounded by neighboring organizations that could have potentially mutual interests. Some of these non-for-profit organizations could potentially have symbiotic relationships with the members of our older adult center, strengthening the ties of the community. Site plan for an older adult center. My partners and I, being architecture students, we created a building. We had a lot of discussion on the design of the building according to existing evidence that we studied in contemporary research. So all of our design is based off of evidence of best practices and what older adults need. As you guys can see, the activities that older adults would do are grouped into certain areas of the building. Edible and healing gardens. For example, there's a lot of evidence that gardening is a great activity for physical fitness, and it's a social activity. So our older adult center is going to have both, it would have both a healing garden and an edible garden. Edible and healing gardens. Here is a 3D 3D rendering of a possible healing garden. So, to encourage members to walk throughout the gardens, there are going to be multiple areas of interest within the gardens because that motivates them to get more exercise. So there can be walk formations, gazebos, plenty of benches to offer opportunities to sit, water fountains, and the like, which are all found in the evidence that older adults prefer these things to be there if they're going to go on a walk. Walking is a great form of exercise. At our older adult center, we're going to have, let me see, go to the next slide. We're gonna have walking paths that wrap around the building, and we're gonna have indoor and outdoor walking paths. The tracks are going to be quite wide in order to accommodate walking groups, which is quite popular with older adults. And we made the paths wrap around the buildings so that if an older adult needs to enter the building, they can enter the building quickly at any point in their walk. Multi-purpose classroom, kitchen, and cafeteria. We designed a multi-purpose classroom, kitchen, and cafeteria in order to meet the artistic and educational interests of older adults. The multi-purpose classroom is going to have modular furniture and operable partitions, so it can be used for all sorts of different activities, you can imagine. The classroom would also have a professional kitchen and a small cafeteria, so that older adults, for example, could learn how to cook a heart-healthy meal. If the doctor has prescribed to them, okay, Susie, I need you to start cooking a heart-healthy meal, and maybe they don't know how to go about doing that, as a preventative healthcare measure, they could start learning that at their local older adult center to promote preventative care. Another example would be maybe Susie just recently got a disability for the first time in her life at the age of 70, and maybe she needs to learn how to modify and make accommodations for how she's going to cook in her house. Finally, the older adults could go out into the edible garden and bring in vegetables to cook with in the professional kitchen. The mental health benefits of exercise and physical activity. Research has shown that physical exercise can protect older adults from the onset of depression, and it can decrease the presence of depression in older adults with mental illness. This is just one reason why it's important for an older adult center to have a fitness center among a lot of other health benefits. The fitness center will have weightlifting equipment, a physical therapy area, and also a group class for studio classes. It will also have a bathroom with lockers and showers, and it will be closely located to the health center in case someone working out has an emergency. I think I said everything I wanted to say about the fitness center. Let's see. Yeah, excellent. Health center. The health center is a first-tier intervention for, again, generally healthy older adults, which when you're thinking on a pyramid, most older adults at the bottom of the pyramid are generally healthy. And the goal would be to provide preventative health care on a very simple level. The health care will offer hearing and vision screenings and be able to offer recommendations to medical professionals as needed for more serious cases that would be handled elsewhere. It's not a hospital. Beyond Middletown, our concept of a free public daytime older adult center could have a positive effect, not just on Middletown, but on towns across the United States. Our design could be modified to be used in adaptive reuse projects in abandoned hotels, abandoned shopping malls, and street fronts across the United States that we all recognize. Increasing representation of older adults and their needs in the public space could potentially create a more age-friendly society. Thank you. in my original design, I went to my partners Nkosi and Trent, and I had what I called Carla's wish list. If I could create my Disneyland of an older adult center, and they're like, we're gonna try to make it happen, Carla. So if I could have my Disneyland of an older adult center, within the health center, let me go back to my site plan. I feel like a weather woman. But within the entrance, this would be the health center, and it had a waiting room, and it had examination rooms, and it would have a therapy room, and you'd be able to go see a therapist there. You would have a physician. You would have everyone specifically trained in geriatrics and geriatric medicine. There are more than just vision and hearing that you could provide. You could provide therapy because mental illness was a huge factor, especially when older adults are dealing with chronic conditions and multiple chronic conditions. There can be feelings of hopelessness. In addition, something I didn't have time for in the presentation, that I had in my original version of the presentation for a different conference, was the desire amongst a large population of older adults to have, to practice religion as a coping mechanism for everything they're dealing with. Kind of playing on what you were talking about, mental illness. I personally am not religious, but I'm all for a non-denominational place of worship on the site of an older adult center to be a place of healing. Maybe you're dealing with the death of a loved one, especially when you get into an older age, maybe your friends, you know, who knows. And it would be, the older adult center would be welcome to people of all ages. So if you want to go there with your daughter, hang out in the healing garden, that sort of thing. So a lot of it was kind of holistic, and I would say more around the area of therapy room, non-denominational place of worship, healing garden. There was a lot of research around the benefits of those in this type of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely, thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, my question is about the size. I'm sure too big, as some pointers is too small, you don't want that carbon footprint issue to come in. So when you come up to a certain range of participants, I mean, like habits are there?
It wouldn't have inhabitants. Something not mentioned here that's mentioned in the 30-page paper is that with all the, when we first started thinking about making an older adult center, our first thought too was that it would be a place for older adults to sleep because that's what we're used to. But the research actually found, it was like I couldn't deny it, like the evidence was there, that most older adults actually, it's a misunderstanding that they want to, as soon as they retire, fly off to some warm weather destination. Actually, most older adults wish to age in place. They wish for as long as they can to have minimal interventions and be able to live in their own home that maybe they just paid the mortgage off on. Because maybe they live around family members or friends that are important to them, they have social ties, and maybe if they move to like a senior home in Georgia or something, now they're gonna be isolated from all their family and their friends. So some people wanna move away, but most actually don't. And so on that idea, we were kind of like, why not create like a public library of sorts, but for older adult center? Because we had that with like elementary schools, there's an elementary school in every town. But like, can we say there's this type of facility dedicated to older adults in every town? No, because like 100 years ago, there was a higher mortality rate among like older adults. Having this many older adults in the American population is a new thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Carla.
Yes.
One more question.
Yes.
To that end, it seems to me that the public and town boards, I mean, I'm thinking it'd be publicly funded. It seems to me that most town boards might be more inclined to spend money on a recreation center that's used by young people